There's new tension between the U.S. Attorney General and the number 2 at the FBI over the handling of the Jeffrey Epstein investigation. Dan Bongino, the FBI's deputy director, did not show up to work today, fueling uncertainty at the department. One FBI source told CBS News that his absence has been a pressing issue for the Bureau. And CBS News Justice Department reporter Jake Rosen joins me now. Jake, good to see you. So what have you learned about Bongino's absence from work today?
Well, that's right. This all stems from the release on Monday of a memo in which the Department of Justice and Attorney General Pam Bondi and the FBI, who's headed by Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, agreed that it is likely that the evidence of Epstein's death was related to suicide, that there was no so-called client list, which has been alleged for years by people like all three of the people I just named, Bondi, Bongino, and Patel. And in addition to that, that Bongino is actually considering potentially leaving his post as deputy director of the FBI, which is a day-to-day kind of overseeing the day-to-day operations of the department role, because of his frustrations from a meeting that happened this Wednesday after a blowback of about 48 hours of online criticism from whether it's MAGA influencers or just general people who didn't believe that there was no client list, and that their frustration with the Trump administration which said that they would not be putting out further information than just that video we saw of the jail cell where Epstein died. In addition to that, just the memo that we saw, basically 2 pages summing up years of conspiracy theories, was not enough, and Bongino has been frustrated by that.
Jake, I want to change gears here. You're also monitoring a hearing today from Kilar Orego Garcia, the man who was wrongly deported to El Salvador and is now facing charges here in the U.S. What did you learn about that?
That's right. There have been 3 hearings this week, and really where we stand going into next week is that on Wednesday, a judge in Tennessee is going to hear more arguments on whether to release him from U.S. Marshal, which is under the Department of Justice, whether out of their custody as the criminal proceedings for human smuggling continue down there. The Department of Homeland Security and ICE, however, which is a separate branch of the government, as you know, have been considering and have said out loud in court in Maryland and Tennessee that their intention is to deport Orego Garcia if he is at all released from federal detention. The attorneys for Mr. Orego Garcia want a judge in Maryland, where all of this kind of stemmed from, to block his removal for at least 72 hours so they can try to adjudicate the case and prove that he should not be removed expeditiously, and potentially even transfer him to Maryland so that he can be detained by ICE there and the immigration process can start all over again. Obviously, as we know, that Attorney General Pam Bondi said to the American people at the press conference announcing the charges against him that her intention was to prosecute him fully and put him in an American prison and then deport him, although it seems like the rest of the government does not agree with that.
I want to turn to gender-affirming care now, Jake, because the Department of Justice has demanded patient details from doctors and hospitals that have provided gender-related care for minors. So what are prosecutors searching for here?
Well, it's a little bit unclear, and the Department of Justice told reporters earlier this week that they have sent out subpoenas nationwide to hospitals and doctors' offices that have done gender-affirming care across the country. We know that Attorney General Pam Bondi has made a big issue about potentially going after those doctors for violating federal law. It looks like, at least this is the acknowledgement and tacit acknowledgement of some kind of nationwide probe into doctors who may either be skirting state law or potentially just doing these operations as the Trump administration, signed by an executive order, is trying to crack down on these kind of surgeries and gender-affirming care being undertaken for specifically teenagers, but generally all Americans.
And finally, Jake, President Trump's former lawyer and now nominee to a federal judgeship, Emil Bo, has declined to rule out a potential 3rd term for President Trump or denounce the January 6th rioters in the Senate questionnaire. So what did he say today?
That's right. In this questionnaire, which all judge nominees have to fill out, Bove did not commit to making sure that President Trump sticks to the constitutional 2 terms that we have right now, saying that he didn't want to chime in on that. And in addition to that, he said that there are a lot of political opinions about January 6th. He did not acknowledge where he was that day and what his specific opinion was. Certainly, somebody, a longtime Trump ally, getting a post like this for a lifetime would be very notable. And he has been in charge of a lot of the upheaval we've seen at the Department of Justice lately.
A busy news day coming out of the DOJ. Jake Rosen, we know you'll stay on top of it. Thank you.